Today I have Fred and Carly here with me, and we're going to give you some tips on how to improve your posting, not only to make it more effective, but also to have a much nicer eye appeal for if you're going into any shows or anything like that. And also just to help you keep your balance and stay with the rhythm of the horse is what we're going to be focusing on today. Now, a lot of what we're working on with Fred, he has a tendency to be very inconsistent in his tempo and rhythm, which makes it 100 times more difficult to try to stay with your posting rhythm. But it also makes it that much more important that you keep your balance centered, because as you're posting, if he is to slow down or speed up all of a sudden, it's very easy to find yourself falling forward or getting pushed backwards. And so it's that much more important that you have a good strong core and you keep yourself upright and keep yourself centered. And so that's what we're working on with him, getting him a lot more consistent with his tempo. But that makes Carly's job more important but also more difficult. And so we're going to go ahead and start with the basic position for your riding, okay? You want to have that good straight line, heel, hip, shoulder, and ear, all straight down. And so Carly, go ahead and just move your head back ever so slightly for me. There you go. Just think about your ponytail just touching the back of your saddle. There you go. Now, roll your shoulders up. Okay, now some of the tips that I'm going to have her working on, I want her elbows to absorb some of the shock of the up and down movement so that her hands stay still. If you're locked into your position as you're going up and down and your hands are moving up and down with you, then you're going to be very inconsistent on the horse's mouth and they're going to get confused and you're not going to have a good connection between your reins. And so as you sit down and stand up, you want your elbows to be flexible so your hands stay still, and as you sit down you're going to flex that elbow joint, and as you stand up you're going to extend it. And I don't want you to have a straight stiff arm. It's just a nice flex, extend, flex, extend. And that way your hands are consistent on your horse's mouth. And a lot of people, this is their biggest problem when they start to try to post, and then when my horse stops or my horse slows down or my horse comes down to a walk, why are they doing that? And it's because all of a sudden you start to post and every time you stand up you bump, bump, bump on the horse's mouth. And that's not fair, and they're not, most horses are going to go, well, what are they asking for? Am I supposed to stop? What am I doing? And so if you're really having trouble directing your horse or keeping a good speed or a good tempo, or just even keeping the trot for that matter, while you post, this is going to be a big one for you. Thinking about those elbows, flexing as you sit down, extending as you stand up. The other thing too, and this is going to be the biggest thing for your position as well if you have trouble falling forward, is think about your belt buckle being attached to a bungee cord. And that bungee cord is going to go straight up and attach right in between your horse's ears. Think about just grabbing onto that bridle there. And as you stand up, that bungee cord is coming up. As you sit down, you're going to stretch it, and it's just going to boing you back up. So it's coming right from your hips. And so what happens is a lot of people get caught up into forward back with their shoulders while they post, and then their upper body is doing all the movement and they're going forward and back. And then if your horse was to stop or something, you'd be on the ground or falling onto their neck. And so it's very important that you keep the up, down, instead of forward and back. And so, like I said, just think about it coming right here from your belt buckle, just that bungee cord attached up between your horse's ears, and it's up and down, and up and down, and not your shoulders coming here. Just like what I said in the beginning, having that basic seat with your heel, hip, shoulder, and ear all in a straight line. You want to keep that even when you're posting. And so when you stand up, that line should not go away and it should not tilt forward. So go ahead and you're going to just step him over a bit. Yeah. All right, now go ahead and just stand straight up for us, Carly, and think about keeping that line. And it's much more difficult at a stop. There you go. So you got your heel, hip, and your shoulders just a smidge off. There you go. Very nice. Okay, and go ahead and sit down. And when she sits, it should keep that same position there. All right, so let's go ahead and have you. Okay, now like I had said, really think about those elbows, flexing and extending. As you sit down, they should flex, and as you stand up, they should extend. There you go. So now your hands are quite a bit more still. They're not bouncing around quite as much. There you go. Nice job. Remember those elbows, because now your hands are starting to bounce a little bit again. Good. Nice job. And we're thinking about that bungee cord just going right from your belt buckle up between your horse's ears. Now, one thing that I'll oftentimes have people do if they're struggling in the post is go ahead and grab onto something, I don't care, your horse's mane, saddle, whatever works for you, to help you feel safe, and just stand up for a couple of strides. So Carly, go ahead and put your hand down on something and just stand. And try to keep that nice line, heel, hip, shoulder, and ear as best you can, and just stand for a couple of steps. Good, and then go back to your posting. Excellent, nice job. And you know, that exercise also can help you with the sitting trot as well. It just really gets your core engaged, and it's much more difficult. And so then when you go to post or you go to sit down, it's not, you know, that seems easier compared to standing. Okay, go ahead and turn around and go the other way. Yeah, there you go. Now, remember your ponytail, just pulling back towards the back of your saddle because you don't want your head to fall forward, because that'll put quite a bit of weight on your shoulders if your head starts to fall forward. There you go. So see how her upper body is not really moving much? Her upper body's not falling forward now, and it's just her hips are coming up and back down. There you go. Good, nice job. Remember those elbows, because now your hands are bouncing a bit. There you go. Good. Good, remember your elbows. Just think about that bungee cord, head's right over your shoulders. So you're starting to fall forward a little bit. There you go. Even if you have to correct him, keep you at center. Your abs should be strong, your core is engaged. There you go, nice job. Now remember your elbows, keeping your hands still. And if it's really, really very difficult for you to keep your hands still, what you may end up having to do also is grab onto your saddle pad or your saddles, or just put your hands down on your legs or something, just so that they can't move. So you put them on something solid, and then you'll have a much better feel. It'll give you an idea of what that's supposed to feel like. So go ahead and demonstrate that for us for just a second, Carly. Just put your hands down on the pommel or something like that. Yeah, go ahead and put your hands down on something. Put your hands on something. There you go. Okay,
that was
and
perfect.
then one other thing, if you tend to have a lot of problems with your legs bouncing around or losing your stirrup, what ends up being the problem with that is that you're focused too much on standing in your stirrups. And so you don't necessarily want your stirrups to be that point where you're almost standing on the ground going up and down like that. So what you can do is, I would really recommend giving a little squeeze with your upper part of your calf, right in here. You don't want to squeeze with your knee. That's going to cause tension in your horse. They're not going to want to swing their back. They're not going to want to move forward. And it's going to cause tension in you as well. Do not squeeze with your knee. That knee should be nice and relaxed and open. You also don't want to put too much squeeze on the whole of your calf, and definitely not on your heel, because then you might have your horse squirting forward or speeding up too much, or unsure of what they're supposed to do, breaking into the canter or whatever. So just this little upper part of your calf right here, if on both sides you just bring that in really close to your horse's side, you've got some nice positive tension through this muscle, and you just keep that really close to your horse's side, and not squeezing hard, but just a little feel on that right there. That'll improve so much, and it takes a lot of work, and if you're not used to using that muscle, you may have to just really build it up over time, doing little bits every day. But once you get that muscle built up and you can use it, you'll be amazed how much it'll improve your posting with your lower leg staying still. And that way, when you're going up and down, your heels aren't coming up and down. You can keep your heel in position, you can keep your toe in position, you can keep your leg in position. It's not swinging back and forth. And it'll also make you more stable up top. Because if you're trying to post from your stirrups, but your legs swinging back and forth, you're going to end up being pushed forward and backwards. Because if this is your base, but that base is moving, then you're not going to be very solid or balanced. And so it'll help your posting overall be balanced, especially if you have trouble with your leg moving or you're losing your stirrup while you're posting. Let that be cowgirl.